So, can AI make you a better therapist? Dear future therapists, I'm Gabriella and welcome to my YouTube channel. Let's talk about how AI fits into the life of a counseling grad student. So full disclosure, before I even started grad school, I had never actually used an AI tool before in my life. I think I had maybe just downloaded ChatGPT, but never actually used it. I am personally a little bit of a technophobe, so I was really glad that before my first day of grad school ever even happened, we already had an assignment due that asked us to incorporate the use of AI. So for therapy students, AI can be an incredibly useful tool like flashcards, but in this case, it's more like a unicorn of a classmate who is always available, has Google for a brain, and is deeply in tune with the zeitgeist. And also, when used appropriately, AI can support a psychotherapist's learning without crossing any ethical or clinical boundaries. So in my grad school program, there are two specific areas where AI has been extremely helpful. One is academic support and the other is skill building. So one way I really like to use AI in my grad school studies is to break down theories and concepts. There are so many different psychological theories and modalities, and every now and then you just need a refresher. And when my brain is fried after reading 30 pages of a DBT case study, I'll ask it to explain it to me like I'm a teenager. It also helps me make quick outlines for research papers, study guides, flashcards, and it'll even make mock quizzes so you can study DSM-5 diagnostic criteria. So essentially you're just using it as a database in many ways, except it's an extremely sophisticated database that allows you to narrow your search in the most specific of ways. AI, it's like having a TA who never blinks or feels or legally exists. Okay, so we all know ChatGPT and other platforms like it are infinitely useful when it comes to any kind of research or just finding basic information, right? But here's the fun part, and here's how we incorporate it into grad school studies for psychotherapy that is unique to becoming a professional counselor. We actually use AI in mock client role plays. Yes, we are practicing therapy on a robot, a sophisticated robot. So for example, sometimes I'll type in, pretend to be a client suffering from social anxiety, and as I engage with the client back and forth, I can practice different skills like reflecting feelings, validating the client's emotions, or asking open-ended questions. So where this AI client role play gets a little more interesting is once you start asking the AI client to pretend like it has a DSM-5 diagnosable disorder. So that can be anything from PTSD to bipolar to borderline personality disorder. And then by engaging in this role play, you as the therapist can essentially try to guess what diagnosable disorder the AI client has. So this not only allows you to practice your counseling skills, but your assessment skills as well. It's kind of similar to when you're watching a bunch of cast members on a reality television series, except in this version, it's way more accurate and you get feedback. So we've talked about using AI for role plays, but another way I like to use it is for case conceptualization practice. So when you're given a fictional client by AI, you can use it to brainstorm treatment goals, interventions, or different theories that would be best suited to treat whatever it is the fictional AI client is dealing with, which can be anything from ADHD to somebody experiencing a major depressive episode. So just as a reminder, everything I've talked about up to this point about how to incorporate AI as a student therapist is as it pertains to fictional clients. So we're not talking about using AI to diagnose an actual human being. We're talking about using it in practice in a fictional situation. And I mention that because there are all kinds of ethical and clinical boundaries that you would not want to cross in the event that you were using AI as a tool to diagnose or assess a real-life human being. For one, you would never want to input any actual or identifying client information into an AI algorithm. It's a total breach of confidentiality for that client, and it's something that could cause you to lose your license. So if you are using ChatGPT to diagnose a live human being, congratulations, you've missed the entire point of therapy. The next thing to consider is that AI does not replace supervision. As a therapist in training, we are required to do practicum and internship under the supervision of a licensed counselor for 3,000 hours, I believe it is what we need in California. And you would not want to use AI to replace consultation with an actual licensed therapist. Again, it's a confidentiality risk, but also there's a ton of context and nuance lost when you're consulting a robot. Because AI is such a useful and sophisticated tool, it's really easy to just get lazy and stop forcing ourselves to think critically. But part of becoming a good psychotherapist is continuously using your brain and training it to think critically. So it would be a detriment to you and your future practice if you were only relying on that one tool. So you never want to use AI as a crutch that could eventually become a detriment to you and your abilities and the future success of your practice. And lastly, even though it's helpful to learn about the tools that AI can provide, you're still a therapist in training who's learning how to sit in discomfort, to sit with uncertainty, and to empathize with a live human being sitting in front of you. At this point, I still don't think you can learn true empathy from a robot. But hey, I could be wrong. Let's see how this video ages in 10 years or 2 years. Bottom line is that when using AI, it's important to stay mindful, stay ethical, and stay in your lane as a developing counselor. Personally, I love using AI as a tool, especially in role plays or assessments. It's definitely an exciting time to be training to be a psychotherapist, especially when we have these types of sophisticated tools at our disposal. Dear future therapists, thanks for watching, and let me know how you use AI in your grad school program or where you draw the line, if you draw the line. There should probably be a line. You guys, the robots are gonna replace us. They are. This is terrible, isn't it?